Hello, my name is Alyssa Petitioner. My student ID is 489700468, and this is my assessment for MQBES 1030 Decision Making for Business, where I will be analyzing a business problem through economic frameworks and business analytics. The contemporary business issue which I will be exploring is how weather and temperature impact bubble tea sales and therefore revenue. Since bubble tea is generally a cold drink enjoyed in the summer, this is a large issue for bubble tea stores when it comes to the coldest season every year. Originally, my data set came from Tutorial 10. However, I found that the data didn't suit my needs as it could have, so I've used it more as a template to put my own data in. I have researched bubble tea stores, how many sales they receive daily, when they are popular, and how many customers they get. Along with my research, I've used AI as inspiration to create some possible numbers for my data, which I changed to match my calculations to make it as accurate as I was able to. Consumer choice and producer choice relate heavily to each other when it comes to the supply and demand graph, which you can see here on the screen. Consumer choice represents the demand line of the graph, which is downward sloping. This illustrates how individuals and consumers in general, which is the market demand, greater the cheaper the price is, using core economic principles. Consumers use the cost benefit principle to decide if something is worth the price. Bubble tea, for example, costs an average of $7.50. So a consumer would see the price and decide if the benefit outweighs the cost. Also, a consumer thinks about the opportunity cost of the bubble tea. There are many alternatives to bubble tea, such as soft drinks, coffee, water, etc. All this plays a role in consumer choice. Similarly, producer choice is crucial as it determines the supply line of the graph. For suppliers, in this instance the bubble tea shop, the more money they receive for selling their products, the more supply they are willing to provide to sell the product. Suppliers use the law of supply using the marginal costs and benefits to decide whether selling more of their product is worth it for the business, since the benefit isn't always the same with every sale. Henceforth, when both consumer and producer choice come together, it creates a graph with one line sloping up and the other down. In order for both to suffice, both consumers and producers meet at the middle equilibrium point. Now, what is market structure and market power? Market structure refers to how much competition there is in a certain industry. Market power, however, refers to whether a business has the ability to choose their own pricing and not lose customers. If a business cannot set their own prices, they have to adopt the standard price within the market. They are a price taker, unable to set a higher price without losing customers, while setting the price lower will just result in less profit. The bubble tea industry is a monopolistic competition, meaning that a bubble tea shop would have some market power, however, not enough to set their own prices. Their market power comes from personalization within the store, such as having slightly different flavors of tea, or different toppings or ice and sugar levels available, or the store and service quality itself. However, a bubble tea store doesn't have enough market power to set their own prices, needing to adopt the standard pricing since there are many bubble tea shops all around. With my data, I have used conditional formatting to determine many things about this bubble tea store. Using the traffic lights, I have shown how many products are sold simply by color, allowing business owners to see which days are doing well with the green light, normal days are with yellow, and the worst days are with red. Furthermore, I use the bar ratings to easily display which days have the most customers in comparison to other days. The more bars which are displayed, the more customers have come in. Continuing to track how many loyal customers which have subscribed to the loyalty program, I have used the color scales to display easily if a lot, a medium, or a little came. To conclude, with conditional formatting, I have used the data bars to display daily revenue so it is simple to see without having to read or compare numbers yourself. Altogether, conditional formatting is extremely helpful when it comes to seeing the good and the bad days of the bubble tea business. Owners are easily able to tell which days are good or not, so just by a quick glance of the conditional formatting. Continuing the data analysis, I have used the regression line analysis to determine if this bubble tea business has a correlation of temperature to revenue. Using Excel, I found that the regression line equation is y equals 38.547x plus 397.16, which is a positive slope, meaning that for every degree the temperature rises, revenue is expected to increase by $38.55. Using data analysis on Excel, it is shown that R squared is 0.631425513, which suggests that the regression line is 63.14% accurate when it comes to predicting the revenue from the temperature. P-value is 1.5756, which is greater than 0.05. This means that the coefficient of 38.547 is not actually a true representative of the graph and has no impact on the outcome. As a way to summarize and filter data, pivot tables and charts can be used to see only the information wanted from the main graph in a simplified way. This is very helpful to this bubble tea business because they want to see the revenue per weather. Hence, using a pivot table, they can see how many products they have sold on each type of day based on weather as well as the total here. Furthermore, they can also click to filter by temperature as well. This data can also be shown in a pivot graph as displayed here, where it shows visually the percentage of all product sales over the weather. Using this, we can see that the most sales are when it's cloudy and the least when it's windy. Similarly, a pivot table can be used to check how many products and the revenue made based on certain temperatures. For instance, you can see here the amount of products sold when it was 16 degrees Celsius as well as the revenue. To conclude, using these features, we can solve the current business issue of lower bubble tea sales during colder seasons and poorer weather conditions. Using this data, we know that less sales occur when the temperature is cold and when it's windy. So, a hypothetical solution for this business will be to create hot limited bubble teas only during these kinds of days to encourage customers to come. Overall, I have both learned a lot in economics and data analysis, as well as becoming confident in my skills, in my understanding of economic frameworks and using Excel, which would help me be successful as a future employee.